Hello, dear ones. We'd like to share a chant with you today called Saint Teresa's Admonition. This was written by Swami Kriyananda, and it has words and message that seem very salient to these times.
And this is taken from a poem written by Saint Teresa of Avila.
Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we need. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need.
I wanted to share with you an experience that I had a few weeks ago. There was a problem that I was wrestling with, and it was occupying my mind so much that it even kept me awake at night, and for several days I was really wrestling with this issue. Finally, I prayed very deeply and asked God to show me an answer. And as I often do, I opened a spiritual book, and God gave me the answer. It was not a very flattering answer. It was showing me where I was going wrong, but it was very helpful. And then I was able to sleep at night again. But thinking about that experience in these days, when we're staying at home, we're not going anywhere, just trying to mitigate the spread of the virus, I was thinking, why in the world would I ever even be bothered by that problem that I had before? It seems so absolutely trivial. And that is one of the upsides of going through something like this. We start to put things into perspective. What seemed so important, we realize is nothing. And I was reading an article today about how the pollution over China, over Italy, has dissipated to a large extent just from the fact that people are staying home. They're not driving their cars. They're not running their factories. So we see the effect of being kind to the environment, and the pollution is lifting. We have to keep our minds always thinking of what is good and what we can be grateful for in this moment, and put things into perspective. There's the classic story that I love. A man lives in a very tiny house with his wife, his 6 children, and his parents. And he begins to tear his hair out. At a certain point, he just can't stand it. It's so crowded in there. So he runs to the rabbi and he says, "Rabbi, Rabbi, I'll do anything you say. You've got to help me. It's just driving me crazy with all this commotion in my house." And the rabbi says, "You'll do anything?" The man says, "Yes, yes, anything." "Well, what animals do you have?" the rabbi said. "Well, I have a cow, a goat, and some chickens." The rabbi said, "All right, bring them all into your house." And the man said, "What? The animals into my house?" The rabbi said, "You said you would do anything. This is what you need to do." So the man went back and he brought all the animals into the house. And the next day, looking ragged like he had gotten no sleep at all, he went back to the rabbi, "Please, it's terrible in there. The chickens are jumping all over everybody and pecking at their hair and pecking at them. It's just awful. What can I do?" And the rabbi said, "Well, okay, I think it's time to take the chickens out of the house." So the man went back, took the chickens out, but a couple days later, he was back looking even more ragged. "Rabbi, you have to help me. The goat is butting into everyone. He's jumping on the table. He's on all the furniture. He's chewing on the sofa." And the rabbi said, "Well, I think it's time to take the goat out of the house." So the man gratefully went back, got the goat out of the house. But a few days later, he was back. "Rabbi, the cow is turning the place into a stable. I can't stand it anymore. What should I do?" The rabbi said, "Well, might be time to take the cow out of the house." Several days went by. Finally, the man came back to the rabbi. He was all rested, looked very calm, and he said to the rabbi, "Rabbi, a miracle has happened. Everyone is getting along. The place is so clean and orderly. It's just a blessing. I don't know what you did, but it was wonderful. Thank you." So we don't know what we have until it all turns upside down. But we know that we can be happy no matter what our circumstances are. And we can be grateful for what is. As I have said before, the beautiful spring weather is everywhere around us. New life is coming forth from everywhere. So rest in that trust, in life itself, in God's plan. Many good things are coming from this. And one of those things can be our deepening sense of being centered in the divine.
Yogananda said, had a phrase that touches on the story Nirmala was telling. He said, "Circumstances are neutral. It's our response to those circumstances that determines whether they are positive or negative." And it's a very helpful thing to remember when things seem uncertain or when they even seem flat out negative, that it's really a question of which way is our energy pointing. That's what determines the actual, the net result of what that circumstance causes in our lives. I'm reminded of watching a little child fall down, bump his knee, and immediately look up to see whether his mom or dad is looking down pityingly, or whether they even noticed that he fell down. And his own response is sort of conditioned by their response. You know, if they're all concerned, then wah, 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 he gets very upset. And if not, then it's like, oh well, I bumped my knee, let's go on with life. And we can use a little bit of that second example to our advantage as well, because often in life we will fall down, and sooner or later we have to get up. We can throw a tantrum while we're on the ground. We can get very upset with the fact that the market just crashed and our 401k isn't worth, a fraction of what it was a week or two or a month ago. We can be very excited or disturbed by all the circumstances going on around us. We can be like the guy in the story with the rabbi and be very upset that we're stuck in the house with however many people, or maybe with no people at all, and we're just feeling bored, or we're feeling just kind of out of sorts. And it's just really, really important to find the center within. And like the chant said, to just realize that God alone is what we actually need. God alone is whatever it is that we're looking for anyway. But if we look for that in God, and then of course take all the practical steps along the way that we can possibly do, then we at least have peace of mind in our hearts, peace of heart, peace of mind in our lives while we're going through the process and the experience. Namaste.